Hello and welcome back to the Schooner Pod. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me today, we got Jameson, we got Ty, and folks, I don't know how long some of y'all have been listening to the Schooner Pod, but something has happened that is truly making us very happy. Longtime listeners know that there's a guy we've been coveting for a while, and that guy is General Booty, the JUCO transfer out of Allen, Texas. He has finally been welcomed into our loving arms. Months, over a year after Ty found him and mentioned him, he's here. He's a Sooner, which is just shocking, incredible. And Ty, what was your first, all back those times? Can you believe this actually happened? That we got General Booty?
Yeah, I can, because as you mentioned years ago, the prophecies foretold this. The one that would bring balance to the Sooners has finally come home to Norman to just hopefully not be Booty.
Okay, that's funny. And that's all he needs to be. He's a third string quarterback, likely. But, the name, all that, super exciting. Obviously comes from a good quarterbacking family. I believe he's John David Booty, the former USC guy's nephew. So, that's pretty cool. Obviously Allen, Texas has a really strong pedigree as well. So Jameson, what all are we getting in General Booty beyond just a really, really cool novelty jersey?
Yeah, I don't know how much we're going to get out of him. Just looking at this, I kind of was confused. Obviously, the hype around his name was fun and we're get to laugh about it, but this is a scholarship and you can only give out so many scholarships in college football. And at a point, whenever we were looking at our wide receiver depth, and we're like, let's bring in Bunkley Shelton and JJ Hester, but not give them both scholarship offers, only let JJ Hester commit. But we decided to take a JUCO quarterback that wasn't being recruited by many other schools. Doesn't really have any posted offers that I can find anywhere on his social medias that are legitimately good Power 5 schools. And we give him a scholarship. We're not letting him walk on to come onto this team where we already have five total scholarship quarterbacks. It's just really confusing to me because it's a numbers game. We can't just hand out as many scholarships as we want.
I mean, that's true. Scholarship caps do exist. You just can't throw that at people anymore. So, maybe Jeff Levy sees something in it, but it's interesting, because it's kind of a different type of philosophy, as we kind of discussed before the show, than Lincoln Riley had, who did not have a lot of scholarship quarterbacks.
Yeah, and sure. the thing is, you got to look at the difference between Lincoln Riley and Jeff Levy. And we see how they have, and I guess we have a smaller sample size than Jeff Levy at Ole Miss, but we could see it before that. But the way he ran Matt Corral last season, it took a large toll on him. And you could see at the end of the season, even though he got that high ankle sprain, and that's just kind of a fluke rolling over kind of play, he ran Matt Corral into the ground. So he's like, okay, I think it might be pretty dang important to have depth at the quarterback position here because – Dylan Gabriel has an injury history, and what happens if he were to go down? They clearly didn't believe in anyone in this quarterback room to come in and be that number 2 guy, taking 2 quarterbacks, one, in the 2022 class on scholarship, and then also one in the transfer portal.
Yeah, clearly not.
Yeah, I think when we're looking at General Booty coming to OU, all jokes aside, what is really important to look at is you got to look at, I'm going to read a rule number and then give you a name. So that rule number is out of the NCAA football rule book, Rule 1, Section 4, Article 4. And then that name that I'm going to give you is Nate Anderson, who is an offensive lineman at OU. So what that rule tells is the numbering system for players in college football. And believe it or not, unlike the NFL, there's not actually a strict rule. So there's no numbering system by rule for the defensive side. And on the offensive side, the wording in the rule book is strongly recommends. So the NCAA strongly recommends sort of the conventional numbering system, which brings us to Nate Anderson currently playing for OU or on the team.
We all know
who wears number 69. Okay, that is maybe technically his right as an offensive lineman. That's the normal practice, but it would not be against the rules for OU to give General Booty number 69, which would just be impossibly great.
I'll say this, though. I'll say this as a counter argument to that, Ty. Have you seen what Nate Anderson looks like? I feel like he impersonates that of a guy who wears number 69. He's big, and he's got a long flowing, I don't know how flowing it is, but it's a dirty mullet. It's a pretty dirty mullet. You should look it up. And there's there's a pretty much our big argument here. Is it a name that General Booty, even though he looks like he's legitimately he could like go to a fraternity's front doorstep tomorrow at OU and pledge, versus Nate Anderson, who looks like he's just, stuck in country. And yeah, here we go. Look at this. Look at that. Does that not look like a guy that should be number 69 right there, Nate Anderson? I will argue he deserves it more.
That looks like a 69.
Come on. College football is not about football. It's about selling merchandise. And what's going to sell better than an official, actual jersey that says Booty number 69?
Nate Anderson also looks like a General Booty, though. I don't know.
So maybe we should look into the legality of just these two swapping names, because Nate Anderson sounds like a quarterback name. That sounds like a third-string quarterback name.
That's NCAA really 14. Does.
General Booty sounds like much more of an offensive lineman that wears 69 and has a mullet. So, yeah, maybe we should just name swap these guys.
I'm sure they're okay with just changing their names with each other, but yeah, I like that. My other question is General Booty the best OU name we've ever had?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that compete with it. Honestly, it's a hell of a last name and a hell of a first name. I think of like cool names. Obviously Teddy Lehman was fun. Everyone loved the name Teddy. Everyone loved Rocky Calmus.
Rocky Calmus is great. That's a great name.
I gotta say, this might be a fringe opinion, but Julio Iglesias is probably one of the most fun names to say.
Joaquin Iglesias.
Joaquin Iglesias. We're a last name podcast.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Joaquin Iglesias was great.
That's even more fun to say.
I was about to say, come on now.
I'm sorry, but that was like over 10 years ago, I think, that he played at OU. So.
It is over 10. I mean, you could also look at...
I had Julio Jones and him mixed up. So.
That's fine. We could also look at, if you want to go really way back in the 70s, we had Elvis Peacock. That's a great name overall. It's simple, but Lil Joe Washington, just adding the Lil in front, that's pretty dang good. Shoot, you could just Phil Loadholt. That's a great.
Oh yeah. Name. Oh, that was a great offensive lineman name.
Oh yeah.
That's
an elite O lineman name right there. I don't know. I'm trying to think here. Trey Millard was pretty good. Brian Bosworth, 1989 Sooner. Yeah, Brian Bosworth, the Boz. How could you forget that one? That's a hell of a name.
Yeah, and that was his nickname. Bosworth. It's a cool last name, but it's really
alliteration's good.
Excellent analysis.
His persona. But I want to hit on a couple more points before I forget on him, and actually not joking around with General Booty, because I think it's really big that we hammer this in about philosophy. Do we think that Nick Evers is really that quarterback of the future? I understand he's only a true freshman, but has he shown so little in his debut that they're I need to take another quarterback in that class to compete with him? It's the same class as Nick Evers. I mean, I feel a little bit nervous about that, but I don't think we can dive too much into Nick Evers and throw him already in the trash that they're already bringing in another quarterback in his class. But it's a little bit scary because we haven't had these feelings for a long time at OU where, our premier 4-star, 5-star quarterback that we have coming in is a guy that's already being doubted as a true freshman. Because in the past, whenever we've had these guys as true freshmen, they've been ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. These guys are a lot greener than they used to be. It's not, and I think it's interesting because we now have a bunch of guys who are truly backups rather than this is a young guy being groomed to be a Heisman winner, which is, or this guy transferred in and is ready to take over our current Heisman winner and will win another Heisman if he gets in. So it is interesting. We're kind of going back to normal, but you know,
Here's
I think that's okay.
here's a factor to consider, though. Obviously, there were some, there's a Heisman in there. The name will become. I always love to sort of not be upfront with what I'm talking about, but so we'll try to reverse it. Bama quarterbacks, right? They win national championships, and they didn't have to have superstar, guys. So it's maybe not necessarily a bad thing. You can be very much in college sort of a system quarterback, a guy that maybe is, backup caliber, which I don't necessarily want to say because that sounds, demeaning to none of these guys have faced a snap yet at OU. So who knows? Everyone can always have their big breakout year, but even Georgia, this most recent year, I know he started out as the starter, but Stetson Bennett is not really a guy that a lot of people would consider, a superstar starting quarterback. So you can ride the system a little bit if you have a good system too. So I'm not super concerned about the QBs if we can build a super fundamental system.
Yeah, fully agreed. And yeah, overall, this room is just a lot deeper than it used to be. That's exciting. If we want to talk, meat and potatoes football, that's the news to really get from here. Probably won't see that many snaps at OU, but it's the off season. We have this is the type of topic we spend 10, 11 minutes on talking about. So, yeah, I'm just happy for the little news dump. But anyways, Jameson, I think that's all we have for General Booty, but for now, it's the last we have for General Booty. We might have a little bit more of a general question.
Do you want to do the general right now, Bobby?
Do we want to do the general right now, or are we trying to get some Cruton Quarter up in here? What do you think?
Your call, boss.
Hey, while we're keeping it serious, let's hit that Cruton Corner. Here's a Borat clip.
Jamison.
Yes?
What is this? Jamison.
This is a
Cruton Corner with Jamison.
everybody dancing now. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Recruiting an OU. I'm going to say this every single recruiting segment for the foreseeable future. It is not what it used to be. These Cruton quarters won't be as fun, but we can still find some little things here and there. We talked about the transfer portal. That's essentially recruiting. We got JJ Hester, 6'4", Missouri transfer after visiting a couple weeks ago. It was a big time get for wide receiver depth that we were starting to worry about. I kind of hinted at it in our last episode. We don't really have that kind of 6'4", big bodied wide receiver that can go and make plays. If you think of all of the playmakers on this roster right now, I think of, Theo Weiss is the closest guy to that. But all of, Marvin Mims and Drake Stoops and Jalil Farouk aren't what JJ Hester is. The closest thing that we have to it is Jaden Gibson, who's an unproven true freshman. So having a guy like JJ Hester coming in provides more, different angles for Dylan Gabriel to throw to in terms of wide receivers at his disposal. And then going back to the high school sort of things, 2023, it's hard. It's hard at this point in the, recruiting because it seems like all of our recruits are going to fall in line right at the end because if you're an OU commit, you can't go take visits elsewhere. But I did kind of start thinking about it a little bit. And there is a tight end that's been getting a lot of, news in terms of OU recruiting recently. And Reid Mckeska, he was a Clemson commit and then decommitted. And it looks like he's looking pretty heavily at OU right now as an option after Clemson. That's something to think about because he was a guy who was already committed to one school. You can tell that he's not afraid of committing early. Could he be a guy that could hop into OU's boat pretty fast and shut down his recruitment? That could absolutely be a possibility. But other guys just to keep an eye on, and just in terms of if you go to the crystal ball, you've been seeing a lot of crystal balls for Phil Pichiodi, which is another great name. It's very Italian, 6'3" linebacker out of Pennsylvania. A guy that, very interesting. If we can pull a guy out of, Pennsylvania, that is a very interesting territory for Oklahoma to go dip their toes into. Has a pretty good offer list. That's of, like Auburn, Michigan, Miami. This is a guy, even though he's a 3-star, he's still got some decent offers. Also USC as well. So might be an interesting get. So just a name to keep in the back of your mind, Phil Pichiodi.
Phil Pichiodi. All right. Good stuff, Jameson, as always. So always love to hang out in the Cruton Corner for a little bit in the off season. even though it doesn't have the same flash as it used to be with how Brent is with his commitments. They're a little bit more solid and more staunch. But yeah, good stuff. Well, Ty, we have a new segment, and it's not a regular segment. It'll just pop up in times like this. And I thought with General Booty coming to OU, we would do a draft sort of our favorite generals. And I'm not talking about like throughout history. We don't want to bore y'all, but just overall generals. So I think we'll just pick let's go with our 3 favorite generals. I know you've been making a list as well as I have. I have my draft board ready. So Jameson, are you? I believe you're sitting this one out.
Yeah, for the sake of time, I'll let y'all do a head-to-head. I'll be the moderator here. We'll snake draft it, and we're spinning on the Tankathon meter right now, and Ty has landed the first pick.
Okay.
Oh, let's see. Okay, so with the first pick, I'm going to have to go with General Grant. He loved to drink, and also he was great in Wild Wild West. So give me General Grant as first overall.
Okay, General Grant first overall. All right, I'll take that. My first general, I'm going with the general, the insurance one. Look, I no idea on his record. He might have many war crimes, but one thing I do know about him, he's friends with Shaq, and he's trying to improve everyone's car insurance. So I think that's pretty good in my book. So give me.
I'll say this though, I can't trust him anymore after he got rid of the penguin. I don't see the penguin anymore, so I don't know what to do.
He replaced the penguin with Shaq. He doesn't feel like a loyal friend.
Yes, which is worrisome.
Is this like a bit where you're doing like a Billy Madison thing, or is the penguin a real thing?
I think there was a penguin with the general.
There is definitely a penguin because I remember posing the question to somebody, better penguin on TV, Dre Beckenhill penguin or the general penguin.
Incredible. Ty, I think
all right, Bobby's snaking.
Oh, we're snaking?
Bobby's up at 3. Yes, of course.
Okay, we're snaking.
It's a weird draft system.
Well, that's how you got to do it. You got the first pick.
Okay, well that's
right.
but early, but
lottery.
it's back and forth. But there's we're only doing 3 generals.
You're on the clock.
Okay, I'm gonna go with General Grievous from Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. And before you look, I know he gets beat really easily, but the guy has like 6 arms and lightsabers. And, I know you probably hear this from Star Wars nerds at the time, but he's cooler in the Clone Wars, even though he's always running away. I don't know. He's cool. I'm counting him. I didn't want, he's also the one, general's in his name. You can't go with General Kenobi or other generals. He's pretty good. So I'm going with General Grievous.
Yeah. I'll burn some of my time. I don't want to get the Schooner Pod demonetized, but I don't necessarily know if General Grievous was actually defeated by Kenobi. He had a cough at the time, so I would like to see his sort of test results. I don't know if I can say any more than that without the algorithms shutting us down.
No.
All I'm going to say is, just based on what occurred in the movie, I'm pretty sure most American hospitals would have listed his cause of death with something other than lightsaber. Actually, I don't think he's killed by a lightsaber.
He gets shot.
Yeah, it's like a little artillery thing. Anyways, I'm going with the 4th overall pick. I'm going General Motors. You're talking about someone that's bringing Dale Earnhardt to the table, the Silverado, all sorts of American classics. I know they went bankrupt in 2008 and kind of been bought out, but yeah, give me General Motors for the 4th overall pick.
Okay.
Not in combination with Grant, who drinks. Just to clarify, we're an anti-drinking and driving podcast. We're advertiser friendly.
All right. Ty, you're up now again, 5th, right? Isn't that how it goes?
Yeah, that's Ty's last pick.
Okay, 5th overall. We're gonna have to go with. I got a couple people on the board. We're gonna go ahead and take Hannibal off the board. Brought elephants across the Swiss Alps into Rome. Really, anyone that's doing anything to sort of mess with or defeat Ferrari is good with me. So give me the guy that fought the Romans with elephants, which I'm assuming didn't actually happen because that sounds really. How would you bring an African elephant? they brought it past Italy and then into Central Europe and then over the snowy Alps and then back down into Italy. Doesn't necessarily make sense. I think it's a mistranslation, and I think they were actually Red Bulls that he brought and defeated the Romans.
Hey, or it could be, Alpine strength,
Hannibal sounds like Horner is what I'm getting at. So.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm going to close this out with my general. So I've been going with clearly obvious fake generals. And I'm going to close it out with one of my favorite generals. Shout out to General Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated show, not the crappy movie. He's awesome. He's kind. He's wise. Tales from Bossy Sing Se absolutely slaps. Brings a tear to my eye every time Leaves on the Vine hits. He's a good general, and he gets it done, and he came through when it counts. And frankly, he's awesome. So General Iroh rounds out my roster of generals. So for the record, it's Grievous, Iroh, and the general from the car insurance. So
if you look up a general in Google Images and press like the image button, the general is legitimately the second picture, and I was so stunned. I thought U.S. history would just take over.
Here comes
the general.
Here
we go.
Here comes a big rabbit hole on how you're being manipulated with what you see, and that's definitely a paid placement of the photo. But
fair enough. And Ty, yours was General Grant, General Motors, and then your final one was General Hannibal of the Carthaginians.
Carthaginians, yeah.
You went a little.
Ty's generals were much more powerful than yours, but Bobby did have a little bit more fun. And actually, to be completely honest with you, who knows what the general has done in his life? Like we said, what did he do with the penguin?
Okay, so here's the thing with my generals. If these generals were to fight, my generals win because, well, look, Ties have alcoholism, cars, and elephants. You know what I got? I got lightsabers, I got firebending, and good car rates. So not bad.
Don't General Motors make like a bunch of like crazy weapons though during the war, like tanks and stuff?
Okay, that's fair. So they have some weapons, but I have lightsabers and like a droid army.
To me, it really comes down to Bobby's side is coming in with insurance, and mine is coming in without, which at the start sounds like that sounds like an advantage for Bobby, but then you realize that all damage that happens, his insurance is going to have to cover it because it's the only one. So I specifically mentioned that GM has already dealt with bankruptcies, so it's like you're coming in, you're dealing with someone that has nothing to lose, so.
I will take you straight to court because you're driving without insurance too, with all your General Motors. So there you go. I have a pretty steady case against insurance fraud here. So there we go.
Oh goodness.
So Jameson, who would you call the victor here in this first general draft?
I'm gonna choose Ty. Because I really think that General Motors would just equip them with just the weapons that they would need to just absolutely demolish. Like I said, the poor general, I do think he's a little dangerous because I'm really worried about that man and what he does in his free time. But I just can't get over like a tank just coming down and just destroying.
The other thing is we've seen the insurance general, we've seen him CGI'd in with Shaq. But we've never seen him in the same room as Shaq, which is scary because, right, like look at his proportions. He's either like 5'3", like 160, which is manageable, right? He looks like he could maybe be built like a minion. He might actually be a minion. I don't know his race or ethnicity, but he might be a minion. But he could also be like 6'6", like 450. So. That's definitely a factor. We need to get a combine stats on the general. But the more I think about it, he may be a minion.
No, he's very small.
Also, if you can also alternatively look at General Motors as just the entire employee population of General Motors, just ready to go. So you do have that. But anyways, I think that's enough for that. I had a good time with it. I kind of want to do more of them after, not now, but in the future. Honorable mentions: General M. Bison from Street Fighter, General Mills, the cereal place, and General Education, the thing that you kind of have to do, but you don't really want to do because you want to specialize in stuff. And General Lee, unfortunately, is canceled, so he didn't. That car did not get in, but that's all good.
Yeah, people I was looking at might see, on some practice squads after the draft, where General Electric, obviously, if General Motors was off the board, that was sort of my next take there. General Anesthesia, because whenever he's around, no one seems to remember it, which is a really good skill, and then he seems to have healing powers as well. So like people hear he's coming, and then they just wake up a few hours later and they're healed. So that's a big factor. And then, those are really the main two, because we're an advertiser-friendly podcast. Once again, at course, at any insurance company that wants to sponsor us.
Come to us, the General.
The General Insurance. Also, other insurances, we're open to sponsors. I feel like the Geico Gecko is also a general. So
yeah, who says it can't be a general? We don't know.
It might be like a paramilitary, or like a, maybe some sort of underground force.
Who knows what the gecko's up to? Honestly, he's a little lizard. But all right, I think that's all we have for today. Is it? I think we're done.
We've squeezed this orange.
At one point, Jameson wanted to rank booties, but I think we're shelving that one due to obvious reasons. But
because it was just, there's no reason to having a draft, because Barry B. Benson, star of the B movie, is who's going to beat that. No
also, Kyle Lowry, pretty good booty.
Kyle Lowry does have a good booty.
Pirates booty, the snack, that's not bad. The little
Thanos.
Thanos. Thick Thanos. The little
Tom Cruise in that one weird shot from that one movie.
Tom Cruise's fake butt from that one movie.
Valkyrie.
Yeah, that's a good booty.
Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau's, that's a pretty good booty as well. The little booties they put on huskies that run the Ichabod, that's pretty good.
Pirate booty.
Pirate booty. Like just treasure, that's good booty. So
we said we weren't going to do it, but here we are.
The dead man's chest, But anyways,
chest and booty, yeah.
Chest and booty. All right, that's all we have for the booties. That's all we have for the generals. That's all we have for General Booty. But
that's all we have in general.
Yeah, there we go. It was a generally good conversation. But all right, folks, thank you all so much, guys. Thanks for coming on for this. This was very fun. And look, hey, if y'all like this kind of more fun, goofy, laid back stuff, let us know, and we'll do more of it. If you don't, let us know, and we'll still do it and just ignore you and all that. So, if you, hit subscribe on YouTube if you're watching. If you want to watch more, you can watch some more. If you want to listen to us wherever you go on your podcast, listen to us on your podcast. It's pretty easy. So, Jameson, final words.
No, this is the Schooner Pod. Come on,
Ty, final words.
I had a bit. It was kind of long. It was about Lincoln Riley allegedly cheating with his assistant, but then our Brent Venables already getting more booty than he does. So,
all right. Well, that's it. So this has been the Schooner Pod. Ty wanted me to say end with booty sooner, please, but I don't know what that means. So
look at him swan.
Booty sooner, Jesus.